Hi, I'm Daniel Brown, CEO of Coastal Advice Group. Today I'm joined by Jacob LoCascio, financial advisor and partner in the business, and we're going to talk about what was in the budget last night and what's relevant to you. There's the headlines, there's families, small business, retirees or Centrelink, what it means locally, what does it mean for the strategy options we should consider for our clients, and more importantly, for those who love sweet potato, we've got something right at the end of this, so stay tuned. Okay, so obviously the headlines, there's tax cuts, it's talking about a whole range of things that have already, some have gone through, some are proposed, but what do you think is most relevant through the headlines, Jacob?
Yeah, so obviously the tax cuts were previously announced and have now been legislated, so they'll come in from the 1st of July this year, 2024, whereby all taxpayers will receive an extra refund, I'd guess, you'd say, at the end of the next financial year. So that's across the board for taxpayers and is in force, and the government, I guess, is including that as part of their budget update. So although that's ready to go, it's locked and loaded. On top of that, there's energy bill relief. So that was one of the biggest announcements, where Aussie households will receive a $300 credit towards energy bills from the 1st of July of this year as well. So a little kicker there to help with the rise of energy prices we've seen over the last few years. And that applies to small businesses as well, $325 there as an energy rebate. So tax cuts, energy bill relief, there's some $3 billion, I guess, for HECS, so university students with HECS debts. They're effectively increasing the indexation or lowering the indexation across whether it's CPI or wages growth. So moving forward, those with a HECS debt won't see the sort of 7% increase in indexation of their loans that we've seen last year. It will be the lesser of wages growth or CPI. Wages growth last year was 3%, so they're effectively providing a credit for the increase that those HECS holders saw last year. So that's at a cost of $3 billion, which is pretty significant, but will be a welcome change, I'd say, for those with uni loans. Another one was freeze on the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, so the PBS scheme for concession holders, Centrelink age pension holders. So a win there that's not linked to CPI as well, which is 7%. So that's been frozen.
And 5 years, I think it was.
Yeah, correct. So 5 years there till 2029, and all other Medicare holders frozen till 2026, 1 January. So
I think it's really important to put probably a context to this, is that we're 12 months or so out from an election. The Labor government is trying to, really focus in on, helping all Australians. So sometimes in these budgets, we'll sit there the morning after and like, what does this mean? There's lots of changes. The last couple have been quite, limited on what it's going to mean for strategy options, but for investment, I think one of the conjectures this morning in the press is talking about, the interest rate projections and inflation projections are quite different to the RBA or the Reserve Bank. So I think for our clients, it probably looks like it for the retirees, they should have smiles on their faces. It looks like interest rates are going to stay high for the foreseeable future, and even if we do see a reduction, it's not going to be significant. So that probably means your fixed interest component should be good. But for us who are paying off a mortgage and trying to get ahead in life and raise a family, I guess that's why they're trying to sweeten some of these other things around education and so forth, because really we're going to be paying quite a high interest rate for the foreseeable future on the mortgage, and that's not going to lead into an election too well if they don't see some changes for those, I guess, the families. That's the way I interpret it anyway.
Yeah. And the energy bill relief will be across the board, so that's a win for families. Those looking to start a family, super guarantee contributions will start being paid on paid parental leave, which that's coming in from the 1st of July 2025. So if you're receiving a paid parental leave entitlement from the government, you'll receive 12% super on top of that, which is a great win for families. And it's typically mums that take a fair bit of time off work, and will result in, a reduction of their superannuation balance no longer occurring. That will be topped up where they're on paid parental leave. So wins for families and those planning to start a family post 1 July 2025.
Rightio, so let's talk about, if you're a client listening to this, which I hope they are listening and we've kept your attention this long, let's talk super and tax, because they're some of the things at the moment as we lead into end of financial year. So we've had changes in the last few years to superannuation contribution, which allows more money to get into super, and that's going to accelerate again next year with a change from $27,500 to $30,000, changing of the tax bracket, so everyone's going to be impacted or benefit from that, and it depends on where your scenario is about your income this year compared to next year, the super contributions that you may or may not have made in the past. So the desire or demand, we think, for advice is still going to be outstripping hopefully the supply we can provide. But if you're a client listening to this, what do you think they should be reaching out to their advisor to touch base and make sure that everything's, well, we would hope that it's all, the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But is there anything else that we should be aware of around those two subjects, tax and super, and the changes now compared to what we have today to where we will be from 1 July?
Yeah, I think with the tax changes, it's going to be a few extra dollars in everyone's pocket for taxpayers. So there's an opportunity there to utilise that tax saving rather than necessarily going off and spending it. So, you could be speaking to your advisor around paying down debt, extra contributions to super, starting an investment. There's lots we can be working with there where, the tax savings are anywhere up to $4,500 for that financial year. So that's a bit of room to move on the strategy side of things. And in terms of contribution caps and the like, we have been aware of the indexation of those caps for a few months now, so your advisor will be on top of it. But for clients, I'd be keeping in mind that, if you're planning to sell a capital gain asset that will incur capital gains tax and create implications there, there could be strategies to delay that post 1 July of this year. So potentially being able to reduce that capital gain as a result of the indexation in the contribution rates, I'd say. So there's a few moving parts. Obviously speaking to your advisor directly would be the best bet because it will be unique to your situation. That would be the main things I'd suggest, that opportunities around reducing tax, getting additional dollars into super, increasing from 1 July. So there's plenty of strategies we can be implementing there for our clients.
Okay, so those who are on Centrelink, luckily enough or unluckily enough to be dealing with it, but it's a great support from the government. Let's talk about the changes they talked about last night, which is, for me, it's around that deeming rate. So one, can you explain what deeming is? And two, what is the proposed change entitled perhaps to more benefits for those who are currently on the Centrelink pension? Yeah,
so obviously those in receipt of Centrelink entitlements such as the age pension, concession card holders, there's two tests to determine your entitlement for Centrelink, and it's the asset test and the income test. The government kindly pays you the lesser of those two tests. So the deeming rate applies to the income test, where basically it's linked to interest rates, and they deem you to be earning a certain rate of return on your financial assets, so bank accounts, potentially pension accounts, superannuation. They deem you to be earning a set percent, and that counts towards the income test to determine your entitlement. As I said, it's linked to interest rates, so as we've had quite a few lifts in the interest rates over the last 12 to 18 months. The cap or the limit that they've put on those deeming rates increasing has been extended through till the end of 2025. So basically, if we had an increase in deeming rates for clients that are income tested, you could potentially see a reduction in your age pension Centrelink entitlements. Those looking to apply for the Commonwealth Seniors Healthcare Card, for example, had the deeming rates been changed and linked to interest rates, potentially you're not eligible for that. So basically it's capping those deeming rates, which will be a win for those people that are income tested for Centrelink entitlements and some of those concession cards as well. So that's a quick win for those people, and it is till the end of June 2025, so they'll reassess at that point, but it's a quick win for those type of clients as well.
So I guess in summary, there's just as we would always say, there's lots of different things, lots of different options for each individual, and we have to personalise the advice to the individual's needs. But thinking about that and forward planning, and it's not just I guess the benefit of financial advice is always thinking about all the different options and we put those in front of people. So there isn't a lot of huge changes in this, but I guess thinking about the changes that have been in the last few years, we always need to stay on top of that and make sure that we're continuing to consider all the available options and put those in front of clients. Okay, so really, in summary, there's lots of little benefits perhaps for each individual, and nonetheless, the $300 that we get towards the energy bill, I know for me that's really increased, or the desire to use air conditioning seems to have gone up, so maybe just parallel with my expenditure to the use. So we said we'd stay, there's some in the fine print. Not many people go this deep into the budget, they read the headlines. We are right into the detail this morning, and we're going to showcase 2, maybe 3 things that people didn't know about, including sweet potatoes.
Big news for sweet potato lovers. So the levy tariff that's currently placed on sweet potatoes is being reduced from 1.5% to 0.5%. So that's on a bit of lobbying from the Australian Sweet Potatoes Growers Industry organisation. So a win for those that love sweet potato chips. Sweet potato fries, some of the finer detail there in the budget.
What else?
1.5 million has been allocated to make plant-based food labelling clearer. So if you've ever accidentally purchased almond milk instead of real milk, the labelling there will be a bit clearer moving forward. So that's a win for non-dairy vegan lovers. Another one that I think is of benefit, we all know people who have left renewing their passport to the last minute. They have announced a fast tracking of passports, so if you pay $100, you're able to renew or obtain a passport within 5 business days. So if you've booked a trip to Bali and haven't checked the expiration on your passport, obviously this needs to go through legislation, but you'll be able to fast track that, which is pretty cool.
Nice. I know that I went through that process last year, I think it was 6 weeks, and it still cost me $300, so that was enjoyable. Okay, well, hopefully that was interesting. Enjoy that sweet potato at your next meal and consumption of your most favourite product. Again, now hopefully everyone's thinking about Forrest Gump when he talks about the shrimp with Bubba. However, hopefully that's a value to you this morning or today when you've listened into the video. We really quickly digested the information that was released last night. A lot of these things look like they're going to be easily put through and legislated. Sometimes we'll sit here and talk about a lot of proposals, and I guess that's an example of the tax laws, rules that have been changed. They had been different under Liberal compared to Labor, so things do change, but a lot of these seem minimal. I know there is a lot of speculation around housing and so forth that they've talked about in the budget, but I think that's in future years, not right now. Thank you, Jacob, for participating. Hope this is of value. If you've got any specific problems or questions around your situation, please reach out to your advisor, and I'm sure they'll look into it and be able to provide you the answer to any question that you have. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.